Hi, everybody. So I'm back, and I just wanted to do a quick little intro to kind of just let you guys know. First of all, my apologies for being away. I know I had originally intended to start this channel quite some time ago, but I found myself kind of struggling with some things. I battled depression. It's not easy at times, but I have really been trying to work hard on doing a lot better. And so I felt February 1st, the beginning of a new month, in the beginning of a new year, would be like the perfect time to get started and be dedicated to this. So it is my intention to do a weekly tarot reading for the collective. That's how I'm going to begin. And then we'll kind of expound on that depending, just how spirit leads me and those kinds of things. I would really appreciate any comments that you all might have. Please put something in the comment section when you watch. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos. That's going to help me immensely. But your feedback is super duper important to me because then it helps me know how to better serve you. So without further ado, we're going to begin my first tarot reading for this year. And like I said, we'll be doing this on a weekly basis. This will be a reading for the collective. And then as spirit guides me, I will expound perhaps into pick a cards, particular subjects, depending upon you and how spirit guides me. I hope you all enjoy. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first tarot reading of 2026 for Fifth Path Tarot. I want to thank everybody for joining in. What you're looking at here is the cards that I will be using for this tarot reading. Notice we're having a hard time seeing some, so let me slide them where they need to be so we can see everything. Alrighty, so for the tarot cards, I will be using the Heart and Hands Tarot. And for clarification, I will be using the Antique Anatomy Tarot. And then as my Oracle cards, I will be using the Moonology Oracle and the Rebel Deck Oracle. So, if you have any questions about those, please feel free to mention something in the comments. I'll get you in the right direction. These happen to be some of my favorite tarot cards that speak to me the most, which is why I chose them. So, without further ado, sorry, I want to adjust the camera just a smidgen. I apologize. There we go. Maybe that. Sorry. Just trying to get it perfected. I apologize. There, now we got you. Now we're cooking with gas. Looks like. Alright. So, I'm going to begin. I'm going to show you, I have a pre-tarot prayer that I do, and then I have a post-tarot prayer that I do, and this will be done every time I do a tarot reading. So I think it's important for y'all to join in on that part of it. It gives you an insight on how I go about blessing the cards and just seeking guidance and wisdom. And just so you know, every time I do a tarot reading, I do a little blessing for myself as a reader. In the cup here, I have a little bit of wine along with my moon water that I keep sitting in the windowsill charged under the full moon. So I use that as a means of blessing myself and allowing spirit to be able to enter within me and guide and direct me as well. Here we go. Great Spirit, ancestors, and elements, guide me with wisdom and clarity. I honor my past, present, and future by walking in balance and trusting in your protection. May my tools reflect truth, not replace it. I accept only what serves the highest good in pure love. Guard my spirit, my home, and my relationships. Surround me with light, insight, and divine guidance. As above, so below. So mote it be. Blessed be. All right. And then I always seek permission and ask the elements and spirits to bless my tarot decks. Allow them to speak to me. Thank them for you allowing me to use them as tools. Okay. And I will individually shuffle the decks as I prepare to use them. So while I'm waiting, they will move to the side and you will watch me shuffle just the single deck. So while I'm shuffling, I'll kind of explain this a little bit. I called my channel Fifth Path Tarot because I discovered in the beginning of my journey back in 2019, my life path number is the life path number 5. So I always shuffle my decks 5 times. So we're on number 2, moving to number 3. I shuffle them 5 times this way. And then I'll show you here in a second after these. I shuffle them 5 times another way. And then I choose my cards. Alright, and we got one more time. And then I'm going to shuffle them 5 times this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so now I'm just going to sit here and go through the cards like so. And as cards pop out to me, I will choose 5 separate cards for this reading. It's whatever kind of spirit guides me and speaks to me about. I'm going to pop these down here a little bit so you can see them off. I apologize. Alrighty, there we go. So we have the Fool in reverse. We have the Hanged Man. We have the Princess of Cups. We have the 7 of Cups in reverse. And the Princess of Swords. So just a little education. Both the Fool and the Hanged Man are what they call major arcana cards. So they're like big picture types of things, typically is what major arcana cards kind of talk about. Just kind of basic stuff. And then we have some cards from the Suit of Cups. Cups are about emotions, those kinds of things within your life. They deal with the heart side of things. And then we have one card from the Suit of Swords. And swords are very action-oriented. Not so much speed as it is just action, taking action in life, that kind of thing. It's not an idle card, I guess is what you would say. They're cards of movement. So, I'm going to seek guidance from our guidebook here. So we're going to start with looking at the Fool. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to read for you what the book says about the Fool, both in upright and in reverse, because sometimes the upright meaning helps give you clarity about the reverse meaning, if that makes any sense. So let's begin here. We have the Fool. It says, a figure walks a road lined with flowers, accompanied by a joyful dog. They set off on this journey, oblivious to its hardships. Eyes blocked with blossoms, they see only beauty. As the dog trusts the Fool to guide it and care for it, the Fool trusts the road to lead them where they need to go. The Fool's optimism may seem naive, but naivete can be a kind of wisdom. Sometimes enlightenment requires unlearning. A hero's journey ends where it has began, and the road in this image loops back on itself, suggesting that these travelers may already possess what they seek. This card indicates that their journey is beginning and it's time to take a leap. Your perspective is fresh and your passion is keen. You have within you what you need to find your way. Don't be discouraged by setbacks or derailed by others' influence. Trust your instincts and follow your heart. Now in reverse, this is what it says. It says you're playing it safe and holding yourself back. You may be afraid of what others think, or you may not trust yourself. Perhaps you don't feel ready to take that first step. There's always more to learn or do to prepare, but you won't progress until you hit the road. And that's exactly what I think that's about. That's about you need to take a leap and you're holding back on something. It's not easy to jump in to something. Like I said, I started the channel, like I set everything up, I did a couple videos, and I got scared. Not gonna lie, I got scared. It's nerve-wracking. You're putting yourself out there to the world. But it's important that I take this leap. Every time I do a tarot reading for myself personally, it reminds me that this is something I need to do. This is a gift. And when we're blessed with gifts, we're meant to share those with the world. They're not meant for us to keep a hold of all ourselves. There's something that you have to offer, but you won't be able to do it until you take the first step. You take the movement. Okay? So, let's move on, and we're going to go into the Hanged Man. So, with this one, I'm only going to read the upright because we don't really need to see the reversed of this. We didn't pull a reversed card. So, let's get into the Hanged Man. There we go. It says, an inverted figure hangs from a branch, its body cocooned in silk. His discarded skin drifts behind him, his face frozen in horror and shock. The caterpillar doesn't know what will happen when it submits to the stasis of the chrysalis. All it knows is that its life could not continue as it was. The hanged man may seem stuck, but surrendering control can be the first step toward change. This card suggests that it's time to let go. Inaction can be as important as action, and healing, growth, and transformation may simply require time. Releasing old attachments and identities can leave you feeling unmoored, but sometimes drifting for a bit is the only way to land somewhere truly new. Once again, it leads right back to this idea that, you need to take a leap. Part of that leap involves surrendering yourself to something unknown. In this case, you have the hanged man. Whatever the situation is, it involves maybe there's a level of not knowing what's going to happen and having to kind of be in limbo for a bit as the process plays itself out. I don't know how else to explain that better, just that you need to do this. This card really reiterates the Fool, meaning that it's time for you to stop holding back. You cannot stay where you are at this point in life. Something has to change. And that change is going to require you to give up. In my mind, I look at this and think about this. The person that's wrapped up like this, they are completely out of control of the situation. Like they have no control over they can't move their arms, they can't move their legs, they're stuck in this position. They don't get a say-so in this right now. It's temporary. When they emerge from this chrysalis, like a moth, like a butterfly, they are able to soar, they are able to fly. But that's not going to happen until they go through this period where they have to relinquish some control. And that's really what's going on here. There is a need to relinquish some control right now. I'm not sure over what at this point, but as we go through the rest of the reading, we'll get to kind of talk about what that might be. So, you need to take the leap, you need to trust, and you're going to have to let go of some control. Moving on to the Princess of Cups. Says a young woman sits at a cafe table, sipping coffee and scribbling in a notebook. Her gaze is dreamy, and her fish earrings suggest her ability to navigate the waters of emotion. This card may represent a studious, sensitive, empathic youth, usually feminine, often a poet, writer, or artist. This person is loyal, trustworthy, and a good listener. She may have a message for you or the ability to help with plans or projects. This card may also represent creativity, inspiration, contemplation, or learning new skills, especially in the arts. I want to say, at least in my mind, intuitively, I feel that this is what that represents. This represents, remember I talked about you're going to have to take a time to kind of relinquish some control over a particular situation. This is what you can do during this period. Just because you have to stop movement, so to speak, in an area, doesn't mean you can't be productive with this time. And that's what this is about. This is about being productive with this time, about taking this time to learn more about the situation or where you're headed, learning more about yourself, how to manage emotions, how to sort through what you're thinking, you're feeling, that part of yourself. A good card that might also relate would be the Hermit. We will see if that comes up in the clarification side of the reading, but that's kind of where my thoughts go. The Hermit card is about reflection, about taking stock, learning about oneself in order to be able to move forward. So this is what you do with this time where you're having to be in limbo. Just because you're in limbo doesn't mean you're completely static. Yes, you may not be able to move your arms and your legs. Like, the control side of it is what that has to do with. But it doesn't mean you can't do something productive. Okay? Moving on to the Seven of Cups. In reverse. So we'll read upright and reverse at the same time. So 7 cups emerge from swirling mist, stuffed with symbols of wealth, domesticity, love, bondage, success, the subconscious, and the unknown. 2 hands reach toward them, but grasp nothing. This card suggests that your imagination is running wild. Possibilities abound, but daydreams may prevent action. Some of your visions may be pipe dreams, but you're having trouble distinguishing fantasy from reality. Prioritization and decision-making are difficult. Careful reflection is required. In the reverse, it says illusions are dispelling. You've begun to prioritize and take steps to realize your desires. But it's possible to be too decisive. Don't seize on an idea arbitrarily, simply to settle a question. Be sure to weigh out all the options. That's really in connection with this whole productive time frame. So you need to move forward in life, and you're not going to be able to move forward until you take some stock and you relinquish some control. During this waiting period, while you're waiting for part of this to manifest itself, or the ability to actually move forward, to come forward, there's a myriad of options that you have for what to do with your time. So you have to be mindful. You don't want to just settle on whatever. This is not quick, is basically what I'm trying to say. This is going to require some thought. This is going to require some focus to really get to know what will be best as you move forward, so that when you move forward, it becomes something productive. Okay? If you look at the image here on the card, like upright, you can see like there's a cup with a little skull in it, there's a snake, there's a chain, but then there's a cup that's completely covered. I feel like it could be anything. But then you've got the good things. You've got your home, flowers, wealth. So the options are endless. You want this side, you don't want this side, so to speak. So you really need to remain clear and focused in your thoughts to ensure that this becomes the outcome. Don't just settle for whatever, because you don't know if it could turn out to be more like this. So yes, you need to move forward, but you need to move forward with wisdom and with clarity. All right, the Princess of Swords. Here we go. So it's a young woman sits in a self-protective stance, gripping a sword. Clouds swirl around her, revealing and concealing. This card may represent a sharp and quick-witted youth, usually feminine, who is on guard against falsehoods, manipulative rhetoric, and faulty logic. She is a skeptic, and her criticism can be cutting. She has an answer for everything, but her assertions, though difficult to contest, may sometimes seem defensive, strategic, or even cynical. This card could also represent a pessimist, an intellectually immature person. Rumors, secrecy, guile, or suspicion. Here's the thing. Remember I talked about, not making hasty decisions, really needing to have clarity and guidance. I see this twofold. In the negative, it could be what results from not thinking clearly and thinking straight. It could be that you become this cynical, defensive, just harsh kind of person. That's going to stop you from the ability to move forward as well. The other side of this, the good side of this particular card, is that yes, you do need to be on your guard. Like I said, you need to not choose a path forward arbitrarily. It needs to be with thought, with clarity, with wisdom. So being on your guard to watch for things that may cause you to fall or stumble, cutting that out, so to speak, with the sword, would be the best way to go. So that's kind of how I see this portion of the layout. So now we're going to move forward with the Antique Anatomy Tarot. So I'm going to shuffle my deck. And what I'll do is I will place the cards kind of on top of these. As I pull, they will be what clarifies the rest of the reading. Now, they may not clarify the card I actually set them on top of, but they usually do. It just kind of depends. So I let Spirit guide me as I go through. So we'll just keep on going and see what we get. So one of the other things I do while I'm in the process of shuffling is I try to focus in on what it is I am seeking to know. In the case of a reading like this, it's very vague. So what I do is I just try to remain focused and ask for Spirit to just bring out exactly what it is I need to know. Give me clarity, guidance, and wisdom so that I interpret it the way that Spirit intends and kind of go from there. So 3, 4, and 5. And then we will shuffle this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then it's just really a matter of shuffling the cards around, seeing what pops out to me. Keep going. Okay. I do that on camera because I want you guys to understand that I don't just arbitrarily kind of pick some cards. They like I don't know them ahead of time. I want you to know that it really is spirit that's guiding me on this path. Okay. All right. So, for our clarifier cards, we have, with a Fool in reverse, we have the 3 of Pentacles. With the Hanged Man, we have the 3 of Swords. With the Princess of Cups, we have the 6 of Swords. With the 7 of Cups in reversed, we have the Justice card. And with the Princess of Swords, we have the 10 of Swords. So a lot of swords cards here. So I will say this, that what intuitively I'm feeling, when this situation does go down, when you move forward and you get the clarity to go forward on whatever path or whatever it is you're supposed to be moving into, A, it's going to be prosperous, and B, there's a lot of action involved. A whole lot of action. And it's gonna be balanced. It's a fair thing. I don't know how else to explain that. So let's go in and read our cards here. So we're going to start with the 3 of Pentacles. All right, it says, have you recently embarked on a new project? Perhaps a new career or exercise program? The appearance of the 3 of Coins shows that your efforts will begin to receive outside validation and recognition. You still have a way to go, but you can progress to the next stage feeling confident and secure in your abilities to get things done. The 3 of Coins can also point toward a collaboration of some sort. You work well in a team, and while it's fine to take on a lead role in the group, remember that other people's opinions are just as valid and useful as your own. Okay, so you think about the Fool, and just that name, the Fool, kind of implies like a dumb, a naive person, that kind of a thing. It's in reverse, so you're not really the Fool. And if you trust the guidance on this card with regard to it's going to be prosperous, you're going to be validated, it's going to be a positive thing, and you listen to others, take their guidance, take their wisdom. Don't be defensive about it necessarily, like I talked about over here. Things will prosper well. Right in alignment with what we're talking about. All right, let's move on to the 3 of Swords. Says the 3 of Blades is the most heartbreaking card in the tarot. It carries with it unimaginable despair and anguish, which unfortunately is the necessary part of life and part of the journey with the cards. Usually signifying the end of an important relationship or personal venture, this card represents the grief associated with the death. Mourning is natural and healthy, but at some point you have to pick yourself up and move forward without holding on to the heartache. Take the lesson, not the pain, into your future. Right here with the Hanged Man, remember what I said. You in this situation are going to have to relinquish some control. You're almost like you're going to have to mourn the death of your control over everything going on in your world. Okay? It's not easy. It stings sometimes to have to humble ourselves and realize that we don't wield absolute control as much as we would like to, okay? But there's benefits to doing that, okay? Remember what I said, you take the lessons from this time frame. You get to be productive during this time. You don't have to accept the heartache side of this card that it talks about. You can move forward with the lessons learned, okay? Just right in alignment here. Moving on to the Six of Swords. It says, leave your troubles behind and enter a period of tranquility with the Six of Swords. Now is the perfect time to get away so you can unpack your baggage without any external pressures. The negative connotations of the other blades are left in the deck, and you are given some temporary relief to reorganize and restructure your life. Old wounds and negative relationships are not welcome. Where are you going? You may even feel as though you can finally breathe and focus on the most important relationship you have, the one with yourself. That is exactly what this card is saying. These cards are just reiterating again what I said. This time that you have to relinquish up your control is productive when you focus it in on yourself. You develop that relationship with yourself. This is a person that's casually sitting. It could be somebody sitting on vacation. This is not the image of somebody that's like in a rush or trying to get things done or working. They're taking time to reflect and to think, and that can be relieving and relaxing and refreshing, and that's how you need to take this time. You don't need to take it as negative, you don't have to be angry and mean looking like that, but focused and trusting of the process. Okay, so let's move on to the Justice card. Now, like I said before, these cards, like the swords, the pentacles, there's swords, pentacles, wands, and cups. And they're all minor arcana cards. They're like about the basics of everyday life kind of things. Whereas cards like the Fool, the Hangman, the Justice card, those are major arcana. Those are kind of more big picture things. So remember that as we're going through this. All right. It says, the appearance of the Justice card signifies that you are searching for answers to a problem or have a life-altering decision to make. Both your head and heart need to carry equal weight in this situation. Whether you are settling debts or creating your own code of morals, all of your actions determine where you end up. Honesty and fairness are going to take you much farther than lying and cheating yourself and others. Because it rules over law and order, justice also points to legal matters. Everything from court cases to divorce papers to job contracts are covered by this powerhouse card. Try not to worry because it tends to be a good omen, unless, of course, you've broken the law, whether it's a universal law or a human law. I don't think it has anything to do with broken laws. I don't even think it has anything to do with court or anything like that. What I honestly believe is that there's some life-altering decision that's got to happen here. Something's got to change, okay? And you can take this in that positive direction where you get the positive things out of the situation by incorporating your heart, those cups, and your mind, okay? Using this time that you have to be in limbo before whatever actually happens to your advantage. Being on guard for the things that will stop it and not allowing that to occur, but really focusing in on the positive. Okay? That's what that card is about. Once again, just right in line with everything that we talked about. Moving on to our final card here for our tarot deck, the Ten of Swords or Ten of Blades. Tens are awesome cards. Tens represent completion. When it comes to tarot, the end of a cycle, so to speak, but just completion of something. It says, now in this particular case, it talks about the Ten of Blades is a card of sadness and loss. It represents the ultimate end to a cycle or situation. Not only have you lost the battle, you've also lost the war. It serves as a reminder that nobody comes out on top 100% of the time. It's impossible and not worth trying to change this fact. Now this card, much like the Death card, is about succumbing to your defeat in order to begin again as something else. This ties right back into that Hanged Man and your attitude about the situation, okay? You can't start over if you are holding on to something that doesn't fit in your new life. Acknowledge the pain that you'll feel about this ending and then get ready to let it go. That is exactly it. This change is coming because it has to. Something that does not serve your highest and greatest good has got to be let go of in order for you to make this path forward and to be positive. It's the end of the negative cycle and the beginning of something positive. But like tarot, I've always said about tarot, what most people, proper readers, will tell you about tarot is it's not about predicting the future. It's about giving you options, clarity, and guidance. You can move forward. If you move forward one way, something will happen. You move forward another way, something else will happen. Tarot never predicts anything, but it does give you options, ideas, that kind of thing. So, those are the tarot cards. Let us take a look at our oracles. So I'm going to pull the Moonology Oracle here real quick. And we're going to shuffle. Do our 1. We're going to do our 2. We're going to do our 3. We're going to do our... So sorry about that. Something happened with my phone and it did not want to record properly there and the video started shaking. So hopefully I'll be able to edit that out a little bit, but we'll see what happens. So as I was saying before, occasionally cards like to jump out at me, okay? And that's what happened here. So you notice I stopped shuffling because that card just kind of fell. That meant that was the card for us, okay? Well, let's take a look at it. It says, Blue Moon, believe in the impossible. Well, I have a sneaking suspicion this is just going to bring some positivity to everything I've had to say. Let's take a look and let's find out what the book has to say about this. This here, quite frankly, is one of my absolute favorite oracle decks. I really gain something from it every time. Very positive, very encouraging, always. True blessing, if you ask me. All right. Believe in the impossible. Blue Moon. As the saying goes, some things happen only once in a blue moon. In other words, hardly ever. Drawing this card suggests that you're about to get the rare chance, and that something one-off could well be about to happen. Remember what I said? We're moving forward. Something's got to give. This card is a very positive sign. If you felt like you're hoping for too much or asking too much of the universe. Whatever you're asking about, well, it might only happen once in a blue moon, but it can happen. However, with this rare opportunity before you, it's important that you believe in it. You convince yourself that whatever you're asking about can never go in your favor, then guess what? It won't go in your favor. Be grateful for this card, which is a reminder to believe in your dreams. Attuned to the Moon is a little advice it gives. It says, I'm lucky. Listen. Remember I talked about that positive attitude, doing something constructive with a time of waiting before we're moving forward. That's what this is about right here, okay? Some additional meanings that could be here. Miss this chance and it might not come back anytime soon. What happened may only happen once. The person you're inquiring about is a rare find. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. And the situation is unlikely to repeat. In other words, this is a really unique opportunity and you don't want to miss your leap of faith. You don't want to miss out on what can happen when you take some time to relinquish some control, do something productive while you're not in control, working on yourself so that you can move forward with positivity. There are usually 3 full moons between each equinox and solstice, and vice versa. Sometimes, though, we get 4 full moons in a single season. When this happens, the third of the season's 4 full moons is called a blue moon. At least, that was the original definition of a blue moon. Now, these days, it's popular to use blue moon for the second full moon in any calendar month that has 2 full moons. So, once in a blue moon was a pretty, accurate saying. They didn't happen very often. And that's what this opportunity is. Okay? So now I'm going to shuffle my Rebel deck. My Rebel deck is the sassiest deck I have. Okay? So I'm going to warn you ahead of time. There may be cursing in these cards. Okay? I happen to be a Navy veteran. And so the term cursing like a sailor, I am capable of it, my friends. So I am not averse to that. I apologize if that offends you in any way, but sometimes it's kind of appropriate. Okay? So I don't want you to take offense to it. This is all done out of the purest of hearts and love and respect. Okay? I don't mean anything ill by it in any way, shape, or form. Okay? But the truth sometimes is hard to hear, and sometimes we have to hear it the rough way, okay? Sometimes that's what it takes. You got to relinquish some control and hear some hard things, okay? Not a bad thing. It can always be turned to something positive. I promise you this. All right, so I'm going to go through the deck. This one I close my eyes because it doesn't have like a side that doesn't have writing on it and a side that does, so I kind of pick based in that way. All right, gang. You're going to love it. It says, take an effing trip. Go see some shit. Do new things. Talk to people cooler than you. Remember how I talked about taking a trip, relaxing, finding yourself? That's what the trip's going to do, guys. Okay? Use this time productively, my friends. Use this time productively. It will end up in something positive. You will be able to move forward into a new adventure, renewed and refreshed. And that is super duper exciting. I don't know about you guys. I feel like this was super duper positive. I hope it was positive for you. I want to thank you so much for being here. And I want to end our tarot reading with a prayer that I wrote. So this will be the way I end every tarot reading. And I hope that this has been beneficial to you as much as it's been beneficial to me. With gratitude to spirit, ancestors, and elements, I close this reading in peace and reverence. May the wisdom received settle gently into the heart and mind. Release what does not serve and carry forward what aligns with truth, healing, and highest good. May we all walk protected, empowered, and guided on our path. As above, so below. So mote it be. Blessed be.